In May, we had Interact RMS training. Every member of the department received that. That is for the new computer software that West Terre Haute, and Vigo County are now all operating off of. It's also the same one Indiana State Police is. So we're actually all finally grouped together and able to share our information back and forth. So we finally joined the 21st century on that. Interact actually flew an employee in from Florida, Daytona Beach. She was in town for a week. They also flew in the second employee when we went live. He was there that week. So Interact's been pretty good with that. But we are now up and running totally with all the computer stuff. We've been working on that for 7 months. Our reserve hiring process, we did pick up 5 new reserve officers. Actually just lost one. He accepted a job down in southern Indiana. But of those, we started their training. So we went through stops, verbal judo, taser course, emergency vehicle operations, computer software training, building searches training. We also started the pre-basic course through the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. Their classroom stuff started again in May. It's going to go through July, so we're still going through it. Some of the other stuff we did this in May, at least, myself and Sergeant Frochard both taught at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy to recruits from all over the state. Most of you guys, I've said this before, but when we get a chance to go teach at the academy to all of the new hired police officers across Indiana, the department gets credited with training hours. And basically, we can use that as money to go send our guys to class for free. So it pays for itself, which is nice. We just get on our own salary. We don't get overtime or anything like that. And again, they just pay the department the money for it, not us individually. Also myself, Lieutenant Bark, and Officer Ryan. Ryan Martin started a new program. Obviously, the school year has just ended, but they're going to continue an extra called Books and Badges. That's at Sugar Creek Consolidated Elementary School. I'd like to see maybe West Vigo join on as well. But the gist of it, we go read the kids and have breakfast for them. So they try to pick some kids that are having some family home issues, and that way we can, in theory, stay with the same group as they progress through elementary school and try to interact with them a little bit. So they were all nervous at first. It took them about 10 minutes to finally say a word because we're all in uniform, but it was a fun time. Also, maybe you guys have not seen it already, K9 ARCO is now fully deployed out on the roadway. Thanks to the PFC Talpas's fundraising efforts, we have the new police vehicle. We got all the specialized equipment for it. You guys can't miss it. It says K9 on it, so you'll see that driving around. I am starting something new with that because our routine criminals here in town and people that get to know our schedules know exactly which officers work which days. So Officer Talpas is going to be there same at night, same during the day, weekends, weekdays, whole 9 yards. That way it's kind of a big random thing when we have a K9 out. So that will hopefully help out with getting some narcotics off the road. So also, it's not on here, I would like to thank Mr. Modest for finally helping us get that title. I said finally. It's not his fault because he had to go through the judge, but he pushed it, and like I said, finally got everything through, so we got that all taken care of, which is fantastic. Yeah, we've got to complete the process. We're getting there. Clean up messes from years ago. So. That's all I have for the routine report. Before we get to open forum, any brief questions here while I'm up here?
I have just real quick here. Keep going. I have a letter here from I think it's Stephen Page.
Was that the same letter from last meeting? Was it about the speeding on Paris Avenue?
No, this is May 22nd.
Yeah.
But he has asked, his concerns are the fireworks stands, which hopefully within a couple of months, those will, at least the one here on 3rd Street on the corner there, the old 76 station, that one will disappear because of the new Family Dollar coming in.
That would all fall under zoning laws,
Right.
which is not something the police department has to do with.
Right. And then his questions are about the property here across from the town hall.
The Clark Station.
He's just asked that if we can make sure that that property's tagged. We went over and cut it here not too long ago. Well, during the cleanup, I think Roger and Stevie went over and cut it. There are 8 telephone poles across from Providence Place on the north side that should be flagged. Flagged along around the city.
Here's flags from all days.
Add on to it.
Yeah, we don't have any way of reaching them. We checked it on the way in. They're farther off the road. Road's elevated right in that area, and we don't have any way of getting up to them. So.
And he also wanted to thank the waterworks staff for taking care of his water issue he had out there. He said you guys done a tremendous job. I wanted to thank you for that. That's it, just make sure.
I know his big complaint was on the trailers there on that street, the ones, and also speeding vehicles from last month, which we've been doing extra patrol. And went over and did one offers on the ones that, most of them actually are right. They could probably use a fresh coat of paint, but the grass is trimmed.
Bob, you have anything for street department?
Now, just the asphalt deal,
Okay.
and, is there any idea about the truck plates, trucks?
Scott?
Yes, we did, I've been, is it Thea? I'm sorry. I've dealt with Thea today, and I finally got all the paperwork filled out, the affidavits filled out for each vehicle, and they were sent to her, so now it's kind of in her court.
So we should be able to turn that, if Scott has all the documents back to us, we should be able to submit that to the court, and it's on the court schedule basically.
Yeah. So, and what we're talking about is, we found out, they were doing a seatbelt, operation pullover or something, and Bob got pulled over in one of our cars. We found out that the plates on most of our vehicles wasn't correct.
Okay, I'm gonna say, when he says pulled over, he was in line with the
Yeah.
rest of the vehicles. He wasn't singled
Yeah, he
out,
wasn't
he didn't do
singled out, but-
anything incorrect, he was just in
So,
line.
we had Scott check the rest of our plates, and come to find out, years ago, they would just transfer plates from one vehicle to the next, and did not think that because we're a municipality, that they didn't have to go through the BMV and get them transferred to the proper vehicles. So we've got two vehicles sitting out there that, the plates are not correct on, so they're sitting until we get them fixed. So, anyway, so that's what we're trying to do. And then we found out too, and this was all prior to Jim coming into the clerk's office, that the new vehicles that were purchased was never titled. So now we have to go through a judge, because there was no title ever produced, because we buy them through a state bid. So when we go over to get plates, you gotta have the title, and because they were bought through a state bid, they have to be shown that we
Was it
own.
a
that we own.
meetings?
Or do you try to trade
Is it
them?
meetings?
Yeah, or if you try to trade them in like Scott and
Well,
them.
everything from 2006 out is totally done fine. It was everything prior to 2005.
Right.
We're having problems with.
So, and most municipalities, by the time they get done with the vehicle, they usually just haul them to the wrecking yard. You know, but, we've got to where we trade these things in every 2 or 3 years. So we traded one in, come find out we didn't have the title for it, or it was lost in the office, so they've got it taken care of now. And Jared was able to go to the judge and,
That's not unique to us, by the way. I'm not gonna name any city names, but one that might just be north of us is having the exact same problem with all of them.
so, and that's, it's just a misconception that they think because we're a municipality that they don't have a good title.
Or an oversight.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting for the town.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I've called the meeting of the wastewater, read the minutes, I have no problem with the minutes, I need a motion to approve the minutes for the wastewater.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jared, anything under wastewater?
No, sir.
Okay, I need a motion to pay the bills for the wastewater.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to accept the financial report from the wastewater as presented.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You guys have anything under wastewater? I need a motion to adjourn the meeting of the wastewater.
Motion to adjourn the meeting of wastewater.
I second that motion.
All those in favor? I call the order of meeting of the waterworks, I've read the minutes, I have no problem with the minutes, I need a motion to approve the minutes for the wastewater, or I'm sorry, waterworks.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of waterworks.
I second that motion.
All those in favor? Bills, I have no problem with the bills, I need a motion to pay the bills for the waterworks.
Motion to pay the bills of waterworks.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Just to let everybody know, if you need a copy of these or have any questions, they are available. All you have to do is ask Mr. Mann or Emily, they will provide those for you.
Financial report, I need a motion to accept financial report as presented.
Make a motion, we accept the financial report of Waterworks as presented.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Something I might add about the financials, with stormwater and waterworks, it's the first time in many years that our bond and interest is completely funded. And that's contributed to Emily and Lori and Jim and everybody working really hard, and you can vouch for that, you deal with these guys. We are in a pretty good financial situation right now. We've got about 203,000 in waterworks, so the money is where it needs to be, it's in the right funds, and our bond and interest by law, anytime you have a bond, you have to have, what is a year of
At least.
Debt service reserve,
yep,
1 year's worth of principal and interest.
1 year's worth of principal and interest in the bank in case you would ever default. And then they have the ability to come in and collect those funds. And we can sit here and say that we are in good shape, that that's funded, and it's been a long time in this town that hasn't been done. And the thing of it is, if you're not compliant with any of your grants, and bond and interest is one of those, if you're not compliant, they're not gonna loan you any more money. So, yeah, so you might as well not even apply. So, you know, Jim has done a really good job of making sure that happens. So, these girls have helped out tremendously in there.
Also want to mention that due to Mr. Mann's diligence and everybody's help, they've also paid off a loan. You know, and we've
Yes.
refinanced loans to save interest. So we're definitely on the way up, saving the town big bucks and finding more money that, you know, we didn't know we had.
And the Green Valley Water Extension's been paid off now. We paid that thing off, what, how many years early? Yeah, 6 years, I think. So that's a good thing. Okay, Vincent, you're here.
Well, we're here tonight to go through the USDA Rural Development application. I have with me Mr. Callahan. I'd like to have you sign in right here, if you don't mind, just for documentation that we did conduct a meeting relative to the water system improvement project. As many of you know, we've been working on this for quite some time, developing a preliminary engineering report for the town, looking at improving the water system. I'm talking about the entire water system. We've been in front of the council going through 11 improvements that we have recommended. One of the, we're at the point right now where we're looking at, well, how can we finance these particular improvements that have been recommended. And we range from upsizing lines throughout the system, tank rehabilitation, fencing around the tanks for security purposes, new water treatment, new booster station, which will open up other areas within the system. So we've identified all of that on the map over there. I have a listing in the report that identifies the 11 improvement projects. But tonight we want to focus on putting together and having the council consider and approve an application to USDA Rural Development. Sheila, I have, see all these little slips, right? All these are your names.
I trust me, I know. I've seen quite a few of them. Mr. Mann sent me several trips.
Yeah. So what we have done is we're putting our hat in. I told the council from day one that we would take it a step at a time. We're at the point right now where we'll file an application. It'll be reviewed and a decision will be made relative to the financing. We've elected to pursue financing with USDA Rural Development. They have the ability to provide long-term financing either in the form of a loan and grant. So there is that option. We have a series of forms tonight. The request for the project itself will be $3,940,900. We have financial information in which Mr. Callahan will be presenting the rate study, which is a part of this application. We have a series of federal forms that have to be signed by the council president. We have engineering agreements that are proposed. We have financial advisor agreements which are proposed. We have attorney agreements which are proposed. I think one of the things I'd like to underscore to you is that all of these agreements, just because we execute them tonight, doesn't mean that we're free to go ahead and get started with our respective duties. They all have to be approved by rural development. They have the final say-so. We use their format, their guidance documents in preparing our particular agreements. We have information on environmental. Anytime you borrow money from the federal government, you have to do an environmental review to make sure that the improvements that you are proposing are not going to be harmful to the environment. So that's a part of this particular application as well. There's a series of certifications, etc. But again, this is the USDA Rural Development application. And what we're going to do tonight is execute these forms, and then what we'll do is that in the next day or two, I'll make copies of everything, get them back here at West Terre Haute. They'll be available for your review anytime here at the town hall. So with that, I would like to introduce Mr. Callahan, and what he's going to do tonight is kind of give an overview of his rate study. And keep in mind, we're looking at a long-term loan at this time, but also we're also looking pushing for grant money to be considered in the mix with rural development.
Thank you. Council, I would like to begin with, Scott, what you were saying about the staff here. I know I drove Emily crazy last week, and I really appreciate your help, and Jeff, I do appreciate it. Makes my job a lot easier when I got information to get to. So I appreciate that. As Vince was talking about the project with USDA Rural Development, it is a 40-year loan. And in the rate report, I have provided 3 scenarios, and of course, maybe none of these will be the final product. Because we have loan amounts, and hopefully we'll get some grant. You can't always count on it, but hopefully we'll get some grants. In this report, I have 3 scenarios. A is with no grant funds. In other words, we have to pay the principal and interest for 40 years on the loan. Scenario B, I have a 15% participation, so we would borrow 85% of the project. And then C, excuse me, is 25%, and most of you have been through my reports. Well, I guess all 3 of you all been through my rate reports. Basically, we start with historical information, and I'll reiterate what Scott has said. The water is doing a lot better than it was when I first showed up years ago. We have 3 years of financial statements in the report, and that's kind of the basis for the rate study. The most important page of this report is page 4 of the report. But page 3 is the source and use. Vince was talking about the $3.9 million project, and you'll see the scenarios laid out there. But page 4 brings the whole report back to 1 page. And you can see under scenario A with 0 grant, B with 15% grant, and with C at 25% grant. You can see the impact of the grant with grant funds. On lines 1 through 21, By law, those are what we call revenue requirements, what you can ask your customers to pay. Doesn't mean that you have to include all those. As a matter of fact, I think in the last rate case, we excluded some of those. Okay? So if you look right in the center of the page, and when I leave here, you'll be able to pick this report up and you'll be able to go to, for like operation maintenance expenses. If you go to page 5, column E, line 26, you'll see where I got that number. Okay? The only reason for the rate increase now at this point is because of the project. Okay, it looks like you're all doing well prior to the project. If you look on the back page 36 and 37, you'll see the impact under all these scenarios. For instance, scenario A, the minimum bill is right at $5.90. But let me tell you that there's a lot of variables in this report. First of all, we haven't received bids. We haven't approved bids. We don't really know what the interest rate is going to be.
And we don't know what the grant's gonna be.
And we don't know what the grant is. So this is from a 10,000 feet perspective on the rates. And I have to tell you, right now, the rate advances 2 3/8%. For this rate report, I assume 3%. A little cushion there. All right? Now, RD, they issue the rates every quarter. January 1st, April 1st, July 1st, October 1st. They publish rates. But once they obligate the bonds or the money to this town, that rate is locked in, whatever the rate is at that quarter. The good thing about this too is that they obligate the funds and then turn around when you close on the bond.